Hey friends, this is Reverend Ben. This is your weekly video, and oh my God, I got to watch the worship service on YouTube Live from last Sunday, and I just want to give a big thanks to the racial justice team for putting together such a powerful and inspiring worship service. I'm excited to return to the pulpit this Sunday, and I know the caucus groups were held afterwards apparently went mostly well. Some of you have written me feeling like this was an act of segregation and saying it wasn't explained well enough why we do the caucus groups. Others of you felt it was explained just fine, but always bear it's no such there's no problem explaining things too much, I think. So let me just go into it for a minute here. We caucus because it's important for BIPOC, remember, is Black, Indigenous, people of color. It's important for BIPOC UUs to have a space to speak their struggles, knowing it won't get questioned, it won't get defensive responses. So for BIPOC UUs, the fear is that if they're honest with their experiences and feelings, those very experiences and feelings will be denied, will be gaslit. The fear is, and their fear is there for a reason. The fear is born of their having had well-meaning white people, UU and otherwise, do exactly that over and over. So this was asked. This was the request of BIPOC UUs in our congregation that we had the separate spaces. Now, for white people like myself, for white UUs, it's important for us to be in a space where we can blunder, get things wrong, and grow without causing harm. So caucuses aren't advocated for a segregated church. It's just a dedicated space where folks can grow and learn in an environment that doesn't perpetuate already problematic power dynamics and silence marginalized experiences. We do then come back and do the work together. I asked Janae, who had a really good take on this, if I could share her words, and she said yes. Janae wrote me, as a person of color, she said, I would like to share a thought to consider for people that are white. Janae says, it is not always easy to have conversations about our experiences with a room full of white people. When we do, she says, we are met with eyes of concern, compassion, pity, and I'm glad this isn't me, or it can't be that bad. Often, as part one, she says it's necessary to separate to then part two come together to hold the larger discussions. It is uncomfortable, she says. It is unnerving, foundationally disturbing, and yet necessary. She says we are here because of the need for verbiage to clarify work that needs to be done. If the people applied the seven principles to their totality, she says we wouldn't need the verbiage of the eighth. She asks, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Beloved Conversations. It's a class that many of us have taken, an online class. But the entire layout is conducted in this way. Janae says, I completed the BIPOC classes and came back to discussions with white people, and it was a lot of work, but I was grateful for the talks we've had. She says, I would like to encourage anyone to try looking at a problem from different angles. Follow one strand. Where does that lead you? Try another. Where are you then? Stay flexible and don't be afraid to test out a new path. Where do you want to build your web and network so that it's strong? And she ends by saying, I send you love. Now, here at UUSP, we will continue to center the voices of BIPOC people and our BIPOC leaders when it comes to issues of race. Just as we center disabled voices when it comes to ableism, trans voices when it comes to transphobia, and so forth. And this might be hard for some folks that aren't being centered in that moment. And if that's you, I will help you with that. You don't have to go through it alone. But it's probably not as hard as being the target of racism, the target of ableism, the target of transphobia, and so on. Make sense? Let's talk about this more if you need more clarification, why we do caucus groups and in general our racial justice work, which we will continue to do imperfectly, like we do all things. Now, what else is happening this week? Very interesting event on Saturday morning called Books and Breakfast. It's sponsored by WOMP, our friends at the Women's Advocacy Movement of Pinellas, and Bay Area Dream Defenders, and it's called Women Hold Up Half the Sky. March is Women's History Month, and a great way to celebrate women's history is to come to Childs Park on Saturday at 11 a.m. for free food, free books, and to talk about women's movement history. We're going to recognize the global impact women have had across various freedom fighting movements. And then, as if that weren't enough, on Saturday at 11 at 1 p.m., our very own Jon Arterton is going to give a lively talk at the Museum of Fine Arts, discussing everything from the therapeutic value of singing to why it's okay to sing even when you can't always hit the right notes. There will be chorus members, One City chorus members singing. There will be audience participation encouraged, and voices and spirits are sure to be lifted. It's free if you're an MFA member, $10 if you're not. Then we have Sunday. Like I said, I'm excited to be back in the pulpit. It is New Members Sunday. We'll be recognizing a bunch of people who are joining us as members, and it is also Kelly Olson's last day, last official day. She says she'll keep in touch, but we are going to celebrate her, especially afterwards during coffee hour. I want to let you know that we have a lost and found. There it is. It's right under the water. I'm joining you from the RE corner just because I like to do that sometimes, but also so that I can point to the lost and found box. In the past, it's been other places, but that's where it is now. And I know some of you have lost things and some of you have found things, and one of them is going to be featured in our Stones of Joys and Sorrows. But that's where it is. If you've lost something, it might be there. Now, John and James don't stay here during the summer. They leave around mid-May, and then it will be on me and other worship leaders to figure out music. And I would love help with that. And in particular, if you play an instrument, like Amy's gorgeous flute playing last Sunday that I heard on YouTube, if you do that, or you're saying, or you're willing to do something for an anthem this summer, please contact me. There's a lot more news, but I think I'll leave you with that because we're almost at 8 minutes long. And I just want to say, remember, you're not alone, and I want to offer you blessings. We'll see you Sunday. Wait, there's one more thing that I forgot, but I can add it because of the editing skills of Janae, and so you will never know that I forgot it, except for the fact that I just told you. Anyway, also this Sunday, join CUUPS, the Covenant of UU Pagans, as we celebrate the spring equinox on Sunday. That's March 26th at 1:30 p.m. at UU St. Pete. So those of you going to worship and then go into the program council afterwards could just bring a sandwich and eat it, and then stay for the CUUPS event. That's what I'm going to do. Our guest goddess will be Persephone as she emerges from the darkness of winter and old, tired ideas into the sunlight that is UU St. Pete. The celebration will feature a crystal meditation. For our craft this month, we'll make a beaded bird's nest that can be made into a necklace or earrings. We'll also be learning the spiral dance, and if you want, you can bring your drums